Okay, so get this. We're diving deep into Paulo Coelho's The Pilgrimage, but not like a dry book report, you know?
Right.
We're pulling out the coolest stuff from those excerpts you gave us, those
Oh.
about the road to Santiago, like specifically for you listening.
Yeah, think of it as like your own little toolkit,
I like that.
full of insights from this incredible journey, this journey of self-discovery.
I love it. So, okay, imagine this. You're right there with this guy,
Yeah.
right? He's trying to find his lost sword, totally into all things mystical,
I could.
kind of hesitant about simple truths, you know?
Oh, totally. Like relatable much.
Totally, totally.
We've all been there.
100%.
That initial skepticism.
Yeah.
But then, boom, he runs into these RAM practices, these things that shake things up. Like, take the seed exercise. Now, this isn't about literally planting stuff, right? It's about, like, embodying that growth.
Oh, okay.
That deep desire for something,
Yeah.
something more.
Yeah.
So he's there, kneeling, like a seed pushing up through the earth, and
Already feeling it, like just hearing you describe it.
right.
That desire to kind of break through, all those limitations.
Exactly. And then there's the speed exercise, which is just wild.
Okay.
He has to walk super slow, like painfully slow, and it throws him off completely. But it forces him to change how he sees things, to find those little aha moments in the everyday.
Yeah, it's like when you finally slow down and you notice those tiny details on a flower you've walked past a million times.
Yes.
Like we're so caught up in the rush, we miss the magic that's right there.
All the time.
And speaking of unexpected things, he runs into a devil dressed like a gypsy.
Whoa. Talk about a sign. This encounter, it really sets the stage. Like he is going to be wrestling with belief, questioning everything.
Yeah, like the universe is saying, get ready, buddy. Things are about to get interesting.
Exactly.
And they really do take a turn for the supernatural. He meets Father Geordie, this monk who can move things with his mind.
It's like, what even is real? It's incredible.
Right. It's like blurring the lines between like what's possible and what's not.
Totally. And you see how he reacts. He's like drawn in, but also kind of pushing back. And that's so relatable.
It is.
It reminds us that opening ourselves up to new possibilities.
Yeah.
It can be tough, even when it's super exciting. And then, get this, he tries this intense practice. It's called the cruelty exercise.
Cruelty exercise. Okay, that sounds a little intense. What is it?
Okay, so it's about facing that voice inside your head. You know that voice, the one that's like, you're not good enough.
Oh, yeah. I know that voice.
Right. So the excerpt talks about how he calls himself an idiot for struggling to climb this peak, but tourists, they just drive right up. And to fight back against that negativity, he inflicts this little bit of pain on himself.
Wow. Okay. That's next level. But I see what you mean. It's like shifting your focus, using a physical sensation to interrupt that negative thought loop.
Exactly.
Because honestly, it's so easy to get stuck in those cycles of doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what's so fascinating about these practices. They give you all these different ways to fight back against those patterns, to break free from those limiting beliefs.
So it's not about the pain itself, but about like taking control back.
Exactly.
Fascinating. And this whole internal battle, it kind of sets the stage for the messenger, right?
Oh, yes. The messenger's
Yeah.
so mysterious. It's this spiritual being, this link to something bigger than ourselves. But here's the thing. He's all about magic and mysticism, right?
Right.
But he doubts the idea of a messenger.
Interesting. So it's almost like he's more comfortable with the idea of some distant, powerful force, but not something powerful within himself.
Exactly. Like, how interesting is that? And this doubt, it's about to be put to the test when he learns about the messenger ritual. But before we get into that,
Okay.
we need to talk about the bigger picture here. The idea of the good fight.
Okay. Yeah, let's unpack that. The good fight. What does that even mean in this context?
So it's about embracing this constant struggle for personal growth, like that push to become the best version of yourself. It means facing your weaknesses, pushing past your limits, and never settling for good enough. It's a lifelong journey.
So it's not about like winning or losing, but about showing up every day
Yes.
and trying to evolve.
Exactly. It's about being fully engaged in the process of becoming. And that brings us back to the messenger ritual. Think of it like a direct line to your intuition,
Okay.
a way to tap into your deepest wisdom, this ritual.
Yeah.
It's all about making that connection.
Okay. I'm intrigued. So what does it actually involve?
So picture this. Visualization, relaxation, the whole shebang. But our protagonist, Mr. Mysticism himself, he struggles to connect. He's
Interesting.
got all these vivid images swirling around him, but his messenger, nowhere to be found.
So it's like he's trying to force it instead just letting it happen.
A classic, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We get in our own way. And this difficulty, it speaks volumes about his struggle with the whole good fight thing. Because connecting with your intuition, your inner guide, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, it's like trying to navigate a maze in the dark without a flashlight.
Yeah.
Might stumble around for a while, but that inner compass.
Essential.
Okay.
Absolutely essential. And speaking of guidance, the excerpts also get into this really interesting exploration of, well, love, but not just romantic love.
Oh.
The kind of love that fuels your spirit, your purpose.
Okay, so love beyond the Valentine's Day stuff. I'm listening.
Right. So first up, eros. That passionate, all-consuming love. We usually connect it with romantic relationships. And the protagonist, he sees this wedding, right?
Sure.
And it shows him both the beauty of eros
Yeah.
and the potential downsides.
So arrows can be this source of amazing joy, connection,
Yes.
but also like jealousy, possessiveness.
Well, right. Those shadow sides of
Yeah.
intense emotions. It's about finding the balance
Wow.
between that passion, that understanding, expressing your love, but also nurturing, nurturing the relationship. Because love isn't just about what you get, right? It's about what you give.
It's about that give and take.
Exactly.
That willingness to like grow together.
Yes.
Okay, so what about that second type of love?
Ah, that would be philos. Love between friends.
Yeah.
That bond you build through experiences, through support.
And we see that with the protagonist and Petrus, his guide.
100%. They challenge each other. They're there for each other. They navigate all the ups and downs together. It shows how important those connections are, especially when things get tough.
Yeah, because we all need that person in our corner.
Yes.
One who gets you, cheers you on, helps you back up when you fall. Okay, so we've got eros, romantic love, philos, that brotherly love. What's next on this love spectrum?
This is where it gets really interesting. Agape.
Okay.
Total, all-consuming love. And it shows up in two very different ways.
Okay, total, all-consuming love. Tell me more.
All right. So first, there are these hermits. They've dedicated their lives to, like, spiritual devotion, their agape. It's totally directed towards their faith, their connection to something bigger.
Okay, so like complete surrender to a higher purpose?
Well,
That makes sense. What about the other side of agape?
you ready for this? Enthusiasm.
Wait, enthusiasm.
Oh,
Like being excited about something.
exactly. That fire in your belly when you're passionate about something. When you're chasing a goal that lights you up, that's agape in action, and it's crazy powerful.
So not just like fleeting excitement, but that deep down passion.
Yes.
The kind that fuels your good fight,
Mm-hmm.
keeps you going even when it's hard.
Exactly. Without it, that love for what you're doing, it's easy to lose steam, to give up when things get tough.
Because it's not always sunshine and roses, this journey of self-discovery. And speaking of challenges, our protagonist, he has a pretty scary encounter coming up.
Oh, yeah. His face-off with Legion, the demonic dog, that's a big one.
Demonic dog. Okay, my rational brain is a little freaked out. But like, symbolically, what does it represent?
It's like all his deepest fears, those shadowy parts of ourselves we try to avoid. And watch how he reacts at first. He freezes. He's terrified. He even thinks about giving up just to escape.
But he doesn't, right.
He pulls it together.
He finds a way to overcome it.
He confronts that fear head on. Instead of letting it control him, he embodies its energy.
That's a powerful metaphor for how we deal with our own inner demons, right?
Totally. Running from our fears just makes them stronger. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is turn around and face them.
Wow. And this whole experience, it leads him to another one of those RAM practices, the shadows exercise.
Which, just like facing that dog, is about confronting the hidden parts of a problem. The protagonist. He's told to study shadows to find where the darkness comes from.
Okay, so it's about looking beyond what you see on the surface, noticing those little details you might normally miss.
Exactly. There's more to a shadow than meets the eye, right?
Right.
Well, there's always more to a problem than we first see, too.
Right. It's about staying curious, asking questions, and being open to those unexpected solutions.
You got it. The shadows exercise, it's about seeing the whole picture, considering all the angles before you jump to conclusions. And this ties back to the whole Legion thing. Both of those experiences, they force him to face what's uncomfortable.
The dark side.
Yeah.
To move forward.
And speaking of moving forward, this whole journey, It leads to one final test for our protagonist.
His final challenge, carrying a heavy cross. It's brutal physically and emotionally. It pushes him to his absolute limit.
And he's pretty frustrated at first, if I'm remembering right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The purpose seems totally random to him. He's questioning everything. Why is this happening?
But of course, there's a deeper meaning.
Right. There's always a deeper meaning.
There always is.
It's like, even when we don't have a clue why we're going through something, it's about finding strength in those moments. It's about not giving up, about trusting the process, even when it doesn't make sense.
I love that. And isn't that like so relatable to our own lives?
When we face these challenges, things that feel impossible, we question, we resist, but often it's in those moments of just letting go
Yes.
that we find this inner strength, this wellspring we never knew we had.
It's like in letting go, we find our power. And for him, this last test, it unlocks something huge. The excerpts describe this vision he has with all this powerful imagery. The Great Lamb, wars, disasters. It's almost like apocalyptic.
Wow, okay. That sounds pretty intense. It's like he's tapping into something massive, like his own personal transformation is somehow connected to something bigger happening in the world.
It's this idea that our personal growth, that good fight we talked about, it might be tied to this larger shift in consciousness, like a global awakening.
So like our own journeys, our own struggles, triumphs are all part of this bigger picture. That's a beautiful thought.
It really is. It means those little things we do, they matter. They create ripples, and it makes his final meeting with his master even more significant.
Oh, right. The reunion, he finally gets his sword back.
He does. But it's not just given to him, you know? There's this deep understanding that comes with it. His master even tells him, you are worthy of your sword because you know what to do with it.
Man, that line gives me chills. It's like the journey itself, all those challenges, all the lessons, that's what makes him worthy. It's not really about the sword, is it? It's like this symbol of how much he's grown.
Exactly. And what's cool is this all happens as it starts to rain.
Oh, wow.
Like a cleansing, a new beginning. The dry earth, it's nourished by the rain, just like he's been transformed by his experiences.
It's that connection, right?
Yeah.
Our inner world, our outer world, how our personal journeys impact everything around us.
Beautifully said.
So as we come up from this deep dive, what are some of those golden nuggets we've uncovered for our listeners?
You know, the biggest one for me is that power to achieve your dreams, to live a life that's truly fulfilling. It's already in you.
It's not about finding some magical sword out there. It's about recognizing the strength within, that wisdom that's just waiting to be unleashed.
And how do you unleash it? Embrace the good fight. Face those fears that hold you back. Find what lights that fire in your belly, that agape that makes it all worthwhile.
Listen to your gut, even when it takes you off the beaten path. Trust that even when things are tough, those experiences are leading you somewhere amazing.
And never forget, your journey, no matter how personal it feels, it's part of a much bigger story. The way you grow, the way you evolve. It impacts the world in ways you might never fully grasp.
What a powerful thought. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into Paulo Coelho's The Pilgrimage. May you all find your own sword, your own inner strength, and may you walk your path with courage, purpose, and a whole lot of enthusiasm.